It has taken me ages, but the game is finally running. I've heard good stuff about this game, and that's pretty much it. English. Have you? No, I have not. What is the time? It's 6:20.
Interesting. I can't find it. Where's the Bible?
Okay. Always wanna have. Always gonna have to think off. Okay. The end is never the end is never the end is never the end is never.
А пакет тут вообще, блин, нет. Пакет тут вообще, блин, нет. No.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
All right.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order.
And I'd do that.
This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job.
Ooh.
And Stanley was happy.
But was he?
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him...
Did I skip it? Oh, I skipped it. Well.
No. This. No.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a...
Really?
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Who farted? This actually is writing on it. You can't see it though.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
I'm sorry, I'm just trying to explore. Ooh.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Come on, I need to fix this.
Ну, посмотреть нельзя. А почему сейчас? А куда?
Okay, so enter the door on his left. I got you.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Definitely. I heard a clicking sound. How to solve a dispute with a coworker. But make sure you slide as a thick blue graphic in the header and throw some bevel on all the text. This will ensure everyone is unique. You must all. Number of slides on this slide. I want to see all the slides. Please, no more sharks. I'm begging. Stop. What is hot? Profits. They really went all out here. The broom closet.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Nah, I think there's something here. I like this little broom here. 4 little dots on it.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
Well, I'm gonna stay here, buddy. I think this room's quite interesting.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Yes, that is very correct. That is what I want to do, buddy.
Are you really still in the broom closet?
Yeah,
Standing
I am.
around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
I want to be in the broom closet, buddy.
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right?
I do.
If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it.
What is that? Oh, just some sort of roll.
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite." I hope your friends find this concerning.
I like his humor. Why is there toilet roll in here? Or is that...
Stanley was fat and ugly and really
fucking
stupid.
stupid.
He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is.
Hey.
That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Hey, buddy. I'm just... So let me explore.
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any number
love
of your
this guy.
thoughtless human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway. Ah, second player, it's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Alright, I will. Because the boss knows that what the boss says goes. If the boss has suffered losses, then that's what the boss chose. What is this?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway. Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Okay.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
I don't care.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Don't care.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death. As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
I'm fine.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Who is this?
Is this?
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start? Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose.
Boom, 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 boom.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed
Give
room.
me some drinks.
Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Is that meant to be a pun? Drinking it all in, yeah.
Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room.
It is.
A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Yep, it is. It's truly a sight to behold.
At this point, Stanley's obsession with this room bordered on creepy and reflected poorly on his overall personality. It's possible that this is why everyone left. Stanley sat around waiting for more dialogue. When a long time had passed and there was no more, he decided that the game was trying to send him a message.
Give me some coffee.
But at last, he'd had enough of the amazing room and took the first open door on his left to get back to business. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music. Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terror. Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go.
Oh, it's
No longer
beautiful.
would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Надо идти. У вас ничего никто не слышит? Почему-то. Ну-то хоть как пойдет. Вас на машине довезут. Может, в этой одежде идти с неплохо. Только собираться надо. Может, так идти.